The best player of every character in Smash, Part 30.
It's over there.
The best ZSS in the world is everyone's favorite pajama-clad content creator, Mars. Yeah. Mars is a weird player because...
You guys may be familiar with RisterMice. What we did last time is he went through every character in the game and said their best move. But now, if you know how to read, oh no, we're gonna go through the best player with every character. This is gonna be a bit of a trivia quiz for myself and maybe for you guys too. All right, part one, Mario. I mean, at this point, it's Snow.
The best Mario player in the world is no doubt Kurama, who has gotten prestigious placements like 7th place at Crown the Third.
When was this made? That checks out. In 2023, yes, it was Kurama, but now it's Snow.
Third, and a 4th place finish at Smash Summit 6. However, the tournament that will forever cement Kurama as a legend is the Ludwig Smash Invitational, where Kurama had a phenomenal run to 3rd place after only qualifying through the last chance qualifier, Donkey Kong. Smash
Donkey
Part
Kong
2.
or... Well, he's like the best main. It gets really weird once you start talking about like other players, like secondaries, you know what I mean?
So here's my rule. In order for a player to be considered for this series, they have to play the certain character as at least a co-main. So with that established, and given the fact that Hikaru is pretty much retired now, my pick for best Donkey Kong will actually go to Chunky Kong, whose best placement was their 7th place finish at MomoCon 2023.
Yes,
where Chunky Kong defeated Hyper Kirby, Murph, and Cosmos, all in Game 5 sets.
That's crazy that like DK results got like even better and better after this too. Like he would go on to like beat Light.
The best player of every character in Smash, Part 3.
Who's the best Link? I don't think T plays anymore, just capital T. Who's saying Gluto in the chat? I knew I was going to see Gluto as soon as I freaking saw it. I'm surprised I'm stumped this early. It'll always be T if he plays.
Now, obviously, the Link player who used to be the best was T, the letter, not the drink, who caused waves with the character back in Smash's early days. Well, we don't even have to move out of Japan to find out. The best Link in the world is Kyon, who had their massive breakout performance only 7 months ago at Winter Next number 3, where Kyon defeated
the
Abadongo,
one Link result.
Shogun,
the
best player of every character in Smash,
Samus?
Part 4, Samus.
Probably Siski. Overall,
this is where things can get a little bit controversial, as people will no doubt debate whether or not the title of Best Samus should go to Siski from Spain or Yara from Japan. But if I was lame, I could separate it between Samus and Dark Samus, but that's no fun. If you ask me,
True.
Siski and Yara both have comparable peaks, with Yara having a slight edge since they've beaten Spargo before, with Siski just barely not upsetting Spargo, but with each of them having equally impressive feats under their belts. So for this, I'm actually going to consult Shoe Stats, a somewhat objective ranking of players based on points gained from placements and notable wins. Using this, we can see that Yara has almost twice as many points as Siski does.
What the does that even... What? I still think it's Siski. I've never played Yara. I don't really think I've watched Yara play much. I think Siski's beaten Gluto, who's an absolute demon recently. I don't know what Yara's done though. I think Siski's my answer. Outside of me doing Iron Man's, because my Samus is GOAT.
Of every character in Smash Ultimate Part 5...
Oh, it's just Yoshidora.
Yoshi. It's Yoshidora, obviously. I mean, look at this graphic. Yoshidora has almost twice as many points as any other Yoshi on this entire board. We all know that the best Yoshi in the world is Yoshidora.
There's a lot of good Yoshi players, and it might have something to do with the fact that he's very easy.
Kirby.
Okay, so it is Gilhu, without a doubt. But I guess back then it would be J-Jaw.
This is a really hard one to do, as I'm mostly torn between two Kirbys. Those two being J-Jaw from the States and Gilhu from Mexico.
I think this was before Gilhu got his crazy results.
The two of them have pretty similar peaks, and looking at Shoe Stats, the two are nearly tied in points.
That's insane that when we were looking at the Yoshi stats, it was like up to like 6,000 or something like that, and the Kirby stats are like not even over 2,000
points. For what it's worth, I think these players are pretty much tied skill-wise, and it comes down to a razor's edge, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Gilhu, since I think Gilhu has slightly better wins against top players, defeating players like Javi, Cloudy, Chag, Nair, and even Meister.
I just watched Meister SD. He didn't beat Meister. Meister donated that set. Ooh, Fox. Fox. Best Fox player. Yeah, I think it's a difficult choice as well. Me, I think it's my Fox after 3 hours at a local bar. Or Mango.
We all know that the best Fox... Light. But did you know that Solo Fox didn't ever win a major until SmashCon Fall Fest 2022? Before next beating Mars, Cola, MVD, and Meister, all in extremely close Game 5 sets, going up into Grand Finals and 3-0ing Spargo and Grands before winning in one more extremely close Game 5 set in the Grands reset, becoming the first Solo Fox to ever win a major. Pikachu.
Shiny Shark.
The best Pikachu in the world is no doubt Shiny Mark, and the best player of every character in Smash Part 9, Luigi.
Raru.
I have a feeling that this episode is going to be a tad bit controversial. The best Luigi in the world is Raru-kun from Japan. I know. I was half expecting it to be Luigi as well, but looking at shoe stats, technically speaking, Luigi is 4th on the list, being beneath Raru-kun, Yaman Action, and even Waka. And I mean, looking at Luigi's player head-to-head...
I don't know Yaman Action played Luigi. I thought he was just a Steve gamer.
His best wins are probably versus Gluttony and Siski, and maybe even Bloom Forever, but they fight all the time at UK locals and regionals. Raru-kun, on the other hand, not only has more impressive wins, but has a lot more of them, defeating Yoshidora before and even having a positive record on Ashimo. Raru-kun also has wins over players like Kyan, Umeki, Aaron, Kananabe, Mr. R, Toriguri, Takara, Sasusoro, Ryuo, Jogibu, Kurage,
That's how you pronounce that
Kome,
one.
Net.
Ness, I mean, I feel like it's kind of a scam to say Syrup because he wins a large majority of his matches with Steve at this point. So I wouldn't even consider him like a Ness co-main. He's like a Ness pocket. I think Atada is probably the best Ness right now, like the best solo Ness. But Gact beat Leo recently.
The best Ness in the world is Gact from Japan,
It
who
wasn't
not
close.
only has the most points from shoe stats, but also has the best recent placements at important tournaments. Gact has made top 8 at lots of Japanese majors, but in my opinion, great placements consistently in Japan, and even as top 8 in some important NA tournaments, most notably Delfino Mazza 2023, where Gact defeated Chag, Jazar, Meister, and Siski. Follow and stay tuned for more parts.
So raw. Such a good pop-off.
Captain Falcon.
Probably Jogibu, right?
The best Captain Falcon in the world is Jogibu, and
Yeah.
I know. I've been reading the comments on the last few episodes, and you guys have already accused me of being way too favored towards Japan, but just hear me out. Because
I mean, if he's right, he's right. You can't get mad at him. You know what the real answer is? It's my Falcon when I'm having fun. Not even trolling. If I'm having fun and I'm playing Falcon at the same time, I might even be the best player in the world, not even just the best Falcon.
Jigglypuff.
Hungry Box, go next. It's Base Mage.
The best Jigglypuff in the world is Base Mage, who not only has the most points on shoe stats by the best player of every character in Smash, Part 13, Peach, and Daisy. The main two players in contention for Best Peach are Mudace and Umeki, who are very close on the shoe stats rankings. Both of them have...
Umeki did just beat Sonics. Actually, wait, so did Mute. Peaches are winning. All right, go next.
Bowser.
Harrow.
The best Bowser in the world is Hedo, who not only has the most points on shoe stats, being 1,000 points over Leon, but has had better placements at huge tournaments, getting top 8 at more...
Dude, playing Bowser at top levels gotta be, like, so awful, but also, like, you're just cheesing the whole time, bro.
Ice Climbers.
It is Large Dawson.
The best Ice Climbers player in the world is, no question, Big D. No one has taken this character to the peaks that Big D has, but the best player of every character in Smash, Part 16, Sheik. Hey.
Obviously, it was Void before, and I think if Void still played and cared about the game, it would be Void. So it's Web.
Despite being ranked number 5 on the shoe stats ranking, I'm going to throw all of that away and say that Web JP is the best Sheik in the world.
Web is number 5, Omega Laugh.
But even more so his run at Luminosity Makes Moves Miami 2023, where Web JP got 9th as the 36th seed and defeated Goblin, Light, and Neo. Zelda.
The only Zelda I know is 0 to None, but I think ZTN's probably better.
The best Zelda in the world is Wine from Japan, and if you're not following...
Sure. Yeah, I don't know who that is. Yeah, he's from Japan, so he's got to be good.
I wouldn't be surprised if you've never even heard of them. Wine has gotten the best placements at important tournaments of any Zelda player, top 8ing many important Japanese tournaments and racking up wins and impressive upsets against some of their top players. Additionally, Wine does have the most points on shoe stats, but it's actually closer than you might think with some of the other top Zeldas. Dr. Mario.
Bacon, because he's the only guy who's playing Dr. Mario. Or Jazar for Wi-Fi.
The best Dr. Mario in the world is Jazar from Mexico, who is mostly known as an online Wi-Fi grinder, but has tremendous offline placements as well, like a 2nd place finish at Rey del Agua, as well as placing 2nd at Combo City, 1st at Smash Ace, and 3rd at Bitmaster 11.
Who did he beat?
Pichu.
It's either Netoru or the Japanese one. I don't care about Pichu players. We're moving on. Is this Falco next?
Player of every character in Smash, Part 20, Falco.
Tilde.
The best Falco in the world, no question, is Little Z, who has been dominating his local— I'm just kidding! Don't click off, I'm just kidding. Sorry, Little Z, but this one commenter has been telling me to make this joke on literally all of my shorts, and who am I to tell the commenter now? In reality, though, the question for best Falco falls to a debate between either Tilde, Masa, or Motsunabe, with Masa and Motsunabe both being from Japan and Tilde being from the US.
This dude's actually... Sorry, you have something to say?
Marth.
I see MK Leo gameplay. The correct answer is Leo if he decided to play Marth.
Now, Marth is an interesting case because his best reps aren't actually Marth mains. When you think of Marth, you probably either think of Rizeyasu or MK Leo.
That's
but
what
like I
about.
established in my episode on Donkey Kong, in order to be considered for this series, you have to be at least a co-main of that character. So I will not be considering Leo for this episode. Looking at Rizeyasu's character usage in tournament, I would describe him as a Marth and Byleth co-main with a Mii Brawler secondary and about 5 or so other pocket characters. Looking at major tournaments, especially recently, Rizeyasu has actually been using mostly Marth, even more so than Byleth. Looking at Shu stats, we can even see that Rizeyasu has more points with the character than Marth mains Ignace, Krieg, or Stretch. So for all these reasons, I'm giving best Marth to Rizeyasu. Lucina.
Okay, so it would be Proto if he didn't retire, but it's probably Mr. E right now, right?
This one is really hard because we all know that the best Lucina in the world is Proto Banham, no question. I mean, for goodness sake, look at Shu stats. Proto quite literally has over double of anyone else in the top 5 here. And I'm not just saying that because he's my favorite player. However, I'm put in a real pickle here because you could very easily make the argument that Proto Banham is inactive and therefore doesn't qualify for this series.
Bro, you don't know Yumu?
Young Link.
It's Super Semi. Go next.
This one is pretty dang hard, as there's quite literally 7 Yinks you could make the argument is the best.
7? Oh, that's like Steve numbers.
J Dizzle and Super Semi, who I think are the 2 best Yinks. Of these 2, though, I'm gonna give the slight edge to Super Semi for more important placings at EU tourneys and wins over top players like MK Leo. Ganondorf.
Okay, the only one that I know is like major.
I'm gonna give the slight edge to Komigura for their 25th place finish at a major and give them the title of best Ganondorf.
I totally like mentally just fell asleep there.
Mewtwo. And I would consider Mewtwo to be a secondary or a counter pick for Goryoka, not a co-main, and therefore not the best.
I didn't know he played that character. Who's next?
6.
Cola, go next. It's not even close.
Play. This one might be the only episode of this series where everyone will agree with me. I hope. The best Roy in the world is Cola, and oh my goodness, am I glad to be saying that. Remember, ever since MomoCon 2023, Cola was taking a big break from Smash Bros. And for a hot minute, I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to include him in this series because I was afraid he'd retire or go permanently inactive.
Not Goblin?
But thankfully, Cola is back, and at his first major back, Luminosity Mixed Moves Miami 2023, he got 5th place and almost got a guaranteed 3rd if he had won Game 5 versus Spargo.
I forgot that he was like retired for a little bit. Honestly, good for him. He probably needed that break.
Crom.
Okay, I only know of like Lavish and Rivers.
This may be the hardest episode I've ever made. The main 2 contenders being Lax from Japan and Lancelot, who's the best player in Finland. Lax's big breakout was his 5th place finish at Wave number 5 and his 3rd place finish at Maisuma Top 13.5. Lancelot seems to be playing more and more Roy and less Crom. Lancelot's beaten players like Quick, Yaka, Tarek, Longo, and more, but he doesn't have nearly as high of peaks and is basically a co-main now.
He's like, yeah, Lancelot might be the best player. Anyway, check out him as the Ying.
Beaten players like Quick, Yaka, Tarek, Longo, and more, but he doesn't have nearly as high of peaks and is basically a co-main now, while Lax is a Crom main through and through. Lancelot has consistency and a lot of solid placements, but Lax has way higher peaks and better wins. Ultimately, I think Lax's resume is more impressive, and he's got over 1,000 more points on Shu stats, so I'm gonna give best Crom
Sure,
to
man.
Lax.
Must be nice living in Japan and being able to farm points.
Mr. Game & Watch. I was gonna say that Mia was the best Game & Watch, but I don't want you guys to accuse me of being favored towards Japan again, so I guess I'm just kidding. Mia is the best. I mean, for goodness sake, the difference is so big. Mia has nearly twice as many points.
Damn, he's got 12,000 points. My goodness. Everyone knows the real answer is Zach Ray when he played Game & Watch for like a year. Next.
The best player of every
Why is he in a different place?
Mennonite.
I don't know any other Mennonites. Oh, wait, Leo?
So the best Mennonite
Oh,
in the
show.
world is Matara from Japan because he has wins on Mia at Kaikaribi 10 and on Neo at China's Tournament Pro 2.
He didn't show any gameplay of the guy he was talking about, by the way.
Pit and Dark Pit.
Zach Ray.
The best player of every character in Smash, part 3.
It's over there.
The best ZSS in the world is everyone's favorite pajama-clad content creator, Mars. Mars is a weird player because he has the weird ability to, after not doing so for months, just go to any major he wants to and defeat any player he wants to. And while I wish Mars attended more majors, his attendance was definitely good enough for this series, so the best ZSS is going to Mars.
That's really funny because like literally like every time, like my local PR when I like went to like 3 tournaments, they're like he went to just enough. And for the LG rankings, they were like he went to just enough tournaments to qualify. And I apparently same here. It's crazy to think I'm that retired.
He's also got the most points on shoe stats, but I mean, you didn't need me to tell you that, did you? Shoutouts go to Doorstop, who is leading the character's meta right now.
That's how we are.
Also,
yeah, Sharp was like definitely number 2 and he didn't even get a mention. That's awesome.
Wario.
Gluttony.
The best Wario in the world is the champion of the French dimension, Gluttony.
I missed the French dimension memes. They just made their own domain. The domaine expansion.
States the best Wario in
okay,
the best player of every character in Smash, Part
Snake.
33.
Hurt.
Snake.
Next.
The best player of every character in Smash, Part 34. Ike.
Who's the best Ike right now? Used to be Raven King for a little bit. Who's the best Ike right now?
So getting this out of the way
Educate
first,
me.
because I know people are going to bring it up, the best Ike in the world used to be Yez, who, even to this day, still has the most points on shoe stats.
Damn.
However, earlier this year, Yez officially retired, or at least temporarily retired, and therefore, Yez doesn't qualify for this series. But that's fine, because the best Ike in the world right now is Tora, previously known as Tora-san, from Japan. She has great wins over players like Gact and has even defeated a Cola's Roy before,
Tora?
widely considered Ike's worst matchup, played by debatably the best player in the world. Though admittedly,
wait, Ike is Roy's worst matchup? No way.
this tournament probably didn't end up counting for rankings. Pokemon Trainer.
Quid?
The main 2 picks here are either Quid or DD, and once again, it's a
Quid.
battle of peaks versus consistency. You all know Quid for his victory at LMBM 2022,
If you say DD, I'm
where he
punching my
became
screen.
the lowest seed ever to win a major, placing first as the 32nd seed. However, his performances after this haven't quite matched it, with a 33rd at next year's iteration and a 17th at LMM 2023. But it certainly hasn't been all bad by any means. DD, who just so happens to have more points on shoe stats, is a far more consistent player, with the crowning achievements for him being 3rd at MomoCon 2023 and 7th at Super Smash Con 2023. However, even though the PT is good, DD's best wins are actually with Steve, with DD being a PT Steve co-man.
That's what I like
For
to
that
hear.
reason, my pick for best PT is going to Quid. Shoutouts go to the
I was about to click off that video in rage.
Diddy Kong.
It's Tweak.
Lucas.
Nightox is one of them, and then Choco Taco is pretty good, but it's probably Nightox because I don't know. He's the only guy I hear his name more than the other ones.
The best Lucas in the world is Nighthawks, who just so happens to have the most points on shoe stats, the best player of every character
Sonic is Sonics.
Smash Part 38, Sonic. The best Sonic in the world is Sonic's, as we all know. If I had talked about Sonic's just last year, I'd have said he was one of the best players to never win a major. But just this year alone, Sonic's won 3. Gommel 2023,
I liked it better when he didn't win majors and would get second at everything. Don't you guys? Because that was such a good meme.
King DDD.
Yeah, it's Leviathan.
Christmas
yeah,
today, and you know what? Now that I think about it, King DDD is actually really similar to Santa Claus. Did I purposefully plan for the D3 episode to be on Christmas knowing this? Absolutely not. The best D3 in the world is Zaki from Japan, and no, I'm not just saying that because it's Japan. Hear me out on this one. Zaki went on one of the greatest before losing to Alice for 5th place. Zaki did Momon, Sasuro, and Kananabe before losing.
Oh, he beat Kananabe. It's an unwinnable matchup for Fox.
Olimar.
It's Shuton. It's not the
We
buzz.
reached episode 40. Yes. The best Olimar in the world is Shuton.
Wow.
Lucario.
Sue is definitely not it. It's that Japanese one that beat Mia.
First things first, it goes without saying that the best Lucario in the world used to be Sue
Got
from
GP.
Japan, who made waves with the character back in Ultimate's early days. And while Sue has taken a break from being in the public eye, he's returned recently, this time sporting mostly Terry with a little bit of Lucario still in there. However, nowadays, the best Lucario in the world is Armadillo.
How true
from
get crazy
Canada.
results.
Armadillo has come extremely close to top 8ing majors multiple times now. First at LMBM 2023, where he got 17th, then at Gommel.
All right, we gotta go faster. Whoa.
The best player of every character in Smash, Part
Zombo.
42, Rob.
Not close.
The best player of every character in Smash, Part 43, Toon Link.
There's like 3 of them in Japan alone, dude. There's level 1. There's 2 other ones that I can't think of.
Can I just point out how all of the world's best Toon Links are centered in Japan? Of the top 6 Tinks, only 1 isn't Japanese, Marvelous Marco.
Oh, Sigma. I forgot about Sigma. He's a funny guy. I've played him once in Smash 4. Played Toon Link.
All the others are in Japan, where Tink is a far more popular and far more
Give me the answer. I think it's level 1 because I saw him
either
first.
Young Link or Adult Link. What has Japan discovered about this character that no one else hasn't?
Jojo
well, you may want to
Hobo.
ask the best Tink in the world, level 1 from Japan, Wolf.
Ouch.
4. Ouch, who just so happens to have the most points on shoe stats, is a far more consistent bracket threat. His big breakout tournament being Battle of BC4.
It's gotta be Ouch,
actually
bro.
remained an extremely solid bracket threat after that, dominating his scene and being an undisputed top Canadian player. So for that reason, I'm going to give Best Wolf to Ouch, Villager.
Javi on Earth, I feel like. It's him or it's Kept, I guess. I played both of them. I think Kept was better, but I played him a long time ago, and I don't know if he still plays.
We're on to the Smash 4 characters. How has time gone so fast? The best villager in the world is Kept from Japan, and even though he has been using more Isabelle lately, he's a villager main through and through. As far as today's meta goes,
Next,
the
Peeb.
Mega Man. Let's get this out of the way first, because a lot of people's first thought when they think of Mega Man will be Kameme. However, as many of you know, I only consider co-mains or above for
He's a
this
Sora
series.
player now.
Wii Fit Trainer.
Is it Oolong? Is that his tag? It's right there.
This one is probably going to be surprisingly controversial given how uncommon Wii Fit is. The best Wii Fit in the world is Oolong from the United States.
Yeah.
Rosalina.
Dabuz, go next.
Little Mac.
Isn't there a Japanese one like Tuck something? I don't remember.
Oh boy. The main question of Best Little Mac falls between either Peanut, the infamous YouTuber, or Tadako the Japanese Little Mac who is mostly known for almost making it into Watch the Throne. Honestly, the two players in terms of placements and points on shoe stats are really dang close. So I'm gonna use wins to determine this. Peanut's best wins are most likely Anathema, Apollo Kage, Base Mage, and Capitancito, while Tadako has a laundry list of great wins over some of Japan's best. We're talking wins over Takara, I'm, Kept, and Umeki, as well as Abadango, and maybe most impressively, Ken.
I don't think it's a mystery as to why this guy has only beaten like all of these players once.
Smash part Me Brawler. Guys,
Brawler.
I messed up. Many people, when they think of Me Brawler, will think of Rizeyasu. However, we only consider co-mains or above for this series, and in my Marth episode, I myself said that Rizeyasu was a Marth Byleth co-main with a Me Brawler secondary, and so his Brawler doesn't count for this series. Of the top 5 Brawlers on shoe stats, Rizeyasu is a secondary.
Don't say Esam, bro.
Esam is a secondary, J-Mafia is a secondary, and there's 2 Japanese players who I don't even know who they are. Guys, I'm so unbelievably screwed. The comments on this video are going to be so bad. For the sake of today's video, the best Me Brawler in the world is Kid from France.
There you go.
Me Sword Fighter.
Do I even want to know the answer to this one? It's Mia. I don't care what he says. It's Mia.
The best player of every character in Smash,
Capitancito.
The best player
Always has
of
been,
every
always will
character
be.
in Smash, Part 54, Palu
Louis
Janet.
Money.
There are actually a ton of Palu players making waves lately, and this episode is definitely tricky for the best Palu. Luis and Chag are good, just not quite there yet. And I also want to say
Luis and wait, he put Jagaimo?
that Roflo has had a really good end to 2023, but it's a bit early to say that he's the Palu GOAT. If he keeps this up though, he probably could be. Personally,
it could be
in
Roflo.
deciding between Jagaimo and Chase, I want to look at their recent results. Chase has had a bit of a slump lately, with somewhat disappointing finishes at LMMM 2023, the Big House 11, and Rising Grand. To contrast, Jagaimo's end of 2023 has been great, winning Sebugeki 16, as well as placing 5th at Delta 5 and Delta 4, and lastly winning Delta 3. So for that reason, I'm going to give Best Palu to Jagaimo.
Pac-Man.
Robin.
Who's the best Robin? I actually don't know.
The best Robin in the world is Leaf from over in Japan.
Sure.
The best player of every character in Smash,
Shulk.
Part 57, Shulk.
Kome.
Despite being the best player
Actually-
of every character in Smash, the best
Okay, so here's the thing. It's either Kome or Nico, but if you look at results, I feel like it's definitely Nico.
player of every character in Smash, Part 57, Shulk.
What do I know?
Despite being a bit of a meme in the community, the best Shulk in the world is still Kome from Japan. Long
he
story
a
made
meme?
very short, he's the only one who places relatively well at large tournaments, with a good 9th place finish recently at Mayasuma Top 15. But that doesn't mean that the other Shulks aren't good. Shoutouts for today are going to go to Jared is King 1 from the US,
That dude had like 2 good tournaments and then he just stopped playing.
Part 58,
It's
Bowser
Zap.
Jr. The best player of every character in Smash, Part 59, Duck Hunt.
It's a hot dog. It's right now. It's Mbozy.
One of Smash Ultimate's most uncommon characters, we actually have a lot of people to talk about. First, we have Raito from Japan, Wisdom from Kansas City, and Sekai Doggo from South America, all of whom don't really use Duck Hunt that much anymore, or don't play that much anymore. Speaking of inactive, we also have Big Duck Hunt Fan 7000, who has one of the biggest upsets of all time over Tweak at Gommel.
Dude, losing to someone with the tag Big Duck Hunt Fan 7000 has gotta suck. Asimo,
the best player of every character in Smash, part 61, Ken.
Jazza
I
or
bet some of you
Takara?
guys
I think it's
forgot we
Jazza.
were doing echoes like this, huh? But just like Ryu, the best representative of this Street Fighter character is the one from Japan, namely Takara. To be honest, a lot of the other Ken players are just not as active as I'd like them to be.
Ain't nobody want to play Ken. I want to see how he breaks it to us that it's Spargo.
2. Cloud. The best Cloud in the world, it's Spargo. Follow and stay tuned for more parts.
True. Shattuck.
63.
Not Neo.
Corrin.
Actually, has Shattuck? When's the last time Shattuck had a good result, guys? Cosmos, correct answer.
You know, a few months ago, I probably would have said that it was Neo, the Japanese Corrin, who just so happens to have the most points on shoe stats. However, given recent trends, I'm actually going to go ahead and say that Shattuck from the United States is the best Corrin in the world.
The recent trends that he's referring to is picking the Japanese players for all the characters.
Neo has been in a pretty significant slump lately ever since SmashCon, while Shattuck has been on nothing but a meteoric rise, making top 8 at LMMM and the Big House, as well as winning Low Tier City 7 and Santa Paws. Not to mention he won the grudge match between the two of them at Super SmashCon. The best player of every character in Smash, part 64, Bayonetta.
Lima.
This one is a particularly tricky one, as some of you pointed out that it's between the Triforce of Lima, Bloom Forever, and Tamapi Daifuku, all of whom are a lot closer in skill than you might think, even being ranked
right now it's
similarly
Lima,
on
100%.
shoe stats. Right now, I'm gonna give the best Bayo to Bloom Forever. Inkling. Tell me, dear viewers, are you prepared for this series to end? The main toss-up for Best Inkling is between Showers and Shirayuki, both from Japan. I think it's a very close race, to be honest with you, but in the last few months of 2023, Shirayuki top-8'd several
It's not
majors.
Cosmos, he doesn't play it.
And I think that gives Shirayuki a slight edge. So for that reason, I'm going to give Best Inkling
Shirayuki.
the best player of every character in Smash, part 66, Ridley. The best Ridley in the world is Mezcal, who is the best player of every character in Smash, part 67, Simon and Richter Belmont.
The guy that's playing right now, I don't even know if he plays anymore still.
The best Belmont in the world is still T3 Dom. Even though Dom has been a bit inactive lately, it's still recent enough to give Dom the title of best Belmont. The best player of every character in Smash, part 68, King K. Rool.
Ball.
The best K. Rool player in the world is Lukewarm, formerly known as Kirby Kid.
Really?
If you didn't know that Kirby Kid actually rebranded as Lukewarm, don't worry, I didn't know that either for an embarrassingly long time. But yeah, best K. Rool is pretty definitively Lukewarm, but a surprisingly close second place goes to Brujo, who could overtake Lukewarm in the future. Isabelle.
Kept.
A lot of people will probably bring up Kept in this discussion, as Kept has been playing more and more Isabelle lately. However, I actually consider Kept's Isabelle to be a secondary, and as we only consider co-mains or above.
Didn't you say in the Villager video that he's been playing more Isabelle recently? Did I misremember that?
For this series, his Isabelle doesn't qualify. And so, the best Isabelle in the world is Yaka from Switzerland. Yaka is the best player.
I don't think I've ever even heard of that guy.
Piranha Plant.
Lucky.
We're finally to the DLC, the last stretch of this series. The best Piranha Plant in the world is Lucky from the United.
Thank you, Cosmos, for the humble dono of 1 set.
Joker.
McLeo.
The best Joker in the world is, say it with me, folks, MK Leo.
Wow.
The best hero.
Nah, I don't think it's Pauly B. I think it's Akakisu. Damn it, I want it to be Pauly B.
The main question of best hero is between Beast Mode Paul from the US and Akikusu from Japan. And to be honest, a few months ago, I would have given it to Akikusu.
I don't know how to pronounce
But
it.
recent victories over Shiny Mark, Cola, Big D, Andres FN, Siski, and most notably Gluttony has propelled Beast Mode Paul just over Akikusu as the
Let's
world's best hero.
go! Happy to be
Shoutouts
wrong.
go to, and buckle up, we've got a lot here. Kamisake from Japan, Nair
Nope.
from Banjo
Toriguri.
and Kazooie. The best player of every character in
Brittles.
Smash, parts. The best player of every character in Smash, part
Leo.
76.
Or is he not going to count it because it's a secondary?
I haven't had a controversial episode in quite a while. I'm giving the title of Best Byleth to MK Leo. Yes, I know that MKLeo said he won't be playing Byleth anymore.
But that is
but
pepperoni
he
and
said
cheese.
that in regards to the future. As far as right now goes, he's used Byleth as recently as UFA versus Rafflo. And even though he's used mostly Joker in these last few months, I think when it comes to all of the best player of every character in Smash, part 77, Min Min.
Doramigi, that's the one.
A lot of people still think that Proto Banham is the best Min Min. And in my Lucina episode, I did give it to Proto because I didn't think he was inactive enough to not be considered. But also, I gave it to him because no one else had really stepped up into that mantle of top 8ing or winning majors. That's not the case with Min Min. The best Min Min in the world is Doramigi from Japan.
Yep, love being
the
right.
best player of every character in Smash, part 78, Steve.
It might be a cola.
Oh boy, the best Steve in the world. I wonder who it could be. It's a cola. Ranked the best player of every character in Smash, part 79, Sephiroth.
No one really mains Sephiroth is kind of the thing.
This one is the hardest DLC character to do. The top 5 Sephiroths on shoe stats don't actually main him. Most notably, Tweak and Ken's Sephiroths are both solidly secondaries, not co-mains or above, so neither of them qualify. However, our saving grace is Ned, who is still definitely a Sephiroth main, despite having a few secondaries. Ned has the best wins and highest tournament placings of any of the Sephiroth contenders. And so, I'm giving best Sephiroth to Ned, Pyramithra.
It's either Shuton or Cosmos, and I think recently it's maybe Cosmos? I don't know.
The best Pyramithra, aka Aegis, player in the world is Shuton from Japan.
Yeah.
One of the true co-mains of Smash Ultimate, Shuton becomes the second person to win multiple episodes in this series for both Olimar and Aegis.
Riddles.
Kazuya. The best Kazuya in the world is either between T from Japan or Riddles from Canada.
Actually, I feel like T has some pretty good peaks. I mean, I know his Kazuya beat Spargo, which is very good. But T plays Kazuya out of, like, hatred. You know what I mean? He plays Kazuya knowing he's going to play like a scumbag. So I hope it's not him. Or maybe I do. Hopefully it vindicates me.
But with T in a slump lately, and his best wins and placements being with Pac-Man, I think most people would agree that the title of Best Kazuya should go to Riddles. This makes Riddles the third and final player to win multiple episodes in this series, joining MKLeo and Shuton, this time for Terry and Kazuya. My 2 big shoutouts today are the best player of every character in Smash, part 82, Sora. The best Sora in the world is Kameme from Japan. No one has taken Sora to the heights that Kameme has, and I, for one, am very glad that Kameme finally found the character that clicks with him.
I feel like I got most of these right, and like a lot of the answers changed over time too. Like and comment and subscribe, and tell me if you disagree with any of his opinions or my opinions. I'd love to read it, and I will definitely reply. Don't check. I love you. Bye.